Are you on the edge of your seat? Because we're about to sound off with Kevin Williams, covering today's latest trends in location-based entertainment. Brought to you by the LBX Collective, your community to connect, engage, and inspire. All right, everyone, let's buckle up.
All right, well, welcome everybody to another Sound Off with Kevin Williams. This is number 105 for January 13th, 2026. Kevin, my friend, how are you doing?
Fine, on the road, but fine. And yourself?
Also fine and on the road, yeah, here at the IntelliPlay headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. So hanging out with the team, doing some annual planning.
Yeah, glorious snowy London at the moment. So I suppose it's that time again.
Yeah, let's do it. How are you going to change my mind this week?
Well, one of the things that has been playing a part in some of the evaluation I've been doing of facilities is maintenance. And some of the excuses that I've been hearing about of why maintenance hasn't been done on certain machines links itself to a problem that we seem to have in the sector. And that would be the control of the maintenance, and that maintenance in many cases can be offset rather than waiting for spares to be delivered from a distributor or from a manufacturer to the distributor and then to the operator, is the progression, I think, towards utilizing for some of this process the 3D printing. And 3D printing comes in three fruity flavors. We have the metal 3D printing systems, which are incredibly expensive. We have the normal conventional plastic single part 3D printing, and then we have the liquid-based 3D printing that can handle various different materials. When I talk about maintenance, there are the three flavors. There's the maintenance of the machine, there's the operational problems, and then there's the electronics. Obviously, you're not going to be printing a circuit board and chips here, but the majority of failures with equipment in the field is with the interface that the player is using, the broken joystick, the broken solenoid inside the gun system, even simple components like the fan mechanism breaking, and that can be solved by the utilization of 3D printing. Yeah, super interesting. And how do you see this being implemented? Is this something that you would see, all right, like a venue is going to have some 3D printing capabilities in their venue to be able to produce parts as needed and be able to download the CAD files and load them into the system and then print them and then put them in themselves? Or is this something that the distributors will have like in their local offices to do some of their parts? Just really curious where you see this manifesting itself. I'm seeing distributor shops, 3D printing shops being created at the moment. A couple of printing facilities in the US have now, Kinko's I think is one of those, has added capability of having a couple of 3D printers at the back of their shop that can produce one-off items. I don't see or envisage the distributor having this. I think it would be a big reach for them to get their brains round what would be needed to support this kind of approach. But I could see specialist batch 3D printing facilities being now gone to as an alternative for waiting for the manufacturer to dispatch your spare part.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, interesting. And I love the idea of having local 3D print shops that are just, around and being able to go to your local Kinko's and grab something off the Thingiverse and, there it is waiting for you when you show up, just like your photocopies.
We're seeing large corporations do this. I know our friends at Creative Works has quite an extensive 3D printing set up in their shop that we always look at when we're doing the tour. Recently, our friends at Disney announced that they had partnered with a particular company that specializes in 3D printing towards creating components and prototypes and elements. We are beginning to see that. From a distributor's point of view, this could be a pivotal moment where they are removed from the mix and an alternative is found towards the sport. That said, it still needs someone to put that spare part, that component into the system and understand what they're doing. So again, there's still some wrinkles that need to be ironed out here.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, coming up after the quick break, we will dive into the trends.
Intercart is the only cashless system designed, developed, and manufactured all under one roof. They introduced cashless technology to the amusement industry and have been leading the way for over 30 years. Cashless systems from Intercart increase customer spending, guest satisfaction, and boost revenues by up to 30%. Intercart is so proud to be serving the amusement industry, and if you aren't already part of their global family of customers, they hope you will become one soon.
Well, thank you, Intercart. One of those aspects of the current economic and business structure that we're going through at the moment is the shakeups. I've been touching upon this on a number of occasions, that we've seen corporations changing their C-suite management and that new replacements are coming in. And it seems to be a fundamental component of the new year that a lot of corporations are parachuting in, not just mid-level executives, but they're bringing in brand new CEOs and CTOs and COOs into these positions. It is concerning because any top management structure changes means that we have a period of time where that management gets their feet under the table and then applies the color, the flavor of how they want to move forward in the management. So we are really going to be going through some restructuring of corporations that will have major ramifications going forward for our sector.
Yeah, and it sometimes does have the implications of creating some whiplash, as we've seen with some of the announcements recently with Dave & Buster's and what they're intending to do with, with removing the social bays. And not that that's the wrong decision. It is, though, a reversion, basically, from a direction that had been really had a lot of investment over the course of several years to move in that direction, and now we're seeing that reverse course. And I think you have that potential to see that in some of these other areas where you're seeing that executive restructuring.
As we go further on into this sound off, that you will see that there are certain operations that are going through major changes that will reflect in the removal of the original management team, purely because they cannot carry on with the direction that they've gone down.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
the biz, straight to the problems, and I had to look up how to pronounce iQIYI, what I would call the Netflix of China. Though obviously China would argue with that one. They had been rumored to be developing their own facility, and now they have accelerated the announcements regarding their first iQIYI land opening, which for me is a little bit more than just a wannabe Netflix house. This seems to be a much more focused theme resort facility with dedicated recreations of popular show areas for people to walk around and immerse themselves. It feels really where Walt Disney was in the 1950s and 60s, where he was sort of leveraging off of the success of his animation and his television work to create a entertainment facility that used that as a leverage, as a way forward. It will be fascinating to see when the doors open on this, and they promise to have quite a high level of XR technology application in this. So we wait with bated breath.
Yeah, this is definitely one that's high on my list to keep an eye on and see how it develops.
So our friends at Palace Entertainment really have cleared house. And part of that clearing house was the handing over of certain properties and venues. One of those was the troubled Cartoon Network Hotel that was under their tutelage. Part of Cartoon Network, obviously part of the Warner Brothers Discovery, a very troubled project. Opened 2020 in the middle of COVID, near enough. Reviews were appalling. The layout was questionable. The applications of attractions was questionable. They went through quite a considerable number of C-suite executives regarding this project. It never caught on. It never found its footing. And now a safer pair of hands will be taking over the building. I'm familiar with the Dutch Wonderland resort operation, but it'll be interesting to see how they apply that kind of mentality to a hotel hospitality approach. It's not easy to do this. And as we've seen, the only really successful hotel entertainment venues that I've seen, leaving aside our friends at Wolf Lodge, are the ones that are kind of attached to a theme park, what we see at Alton Towers, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more we talked a little bit about this and open and shut, but the more that I look at the photos of the facility, it's just kind of mind blowing that they went through all of the work and expense to buy to basically get the access to the Cartoon Network IP, when all they really did was put up some wallpaper, some signage and pictures and photos of the different characters, and then put some like bed sheets and things on. There's very little Cartoon Network immersion, other than the fact that it just happens to be like artwork, and it's just it is a little bit wild to me that they went down this path. And then looking at these pictures, not surprising at all that they have now had to sell their facility to to the Dutch Wonderland Inn.
The most important component of the attraction to the venue was the themality at the front of the building. That's how bad things were.
Yeah,
and
it's rough.
And the disappointment from any family going to this after reading the website and making the booking to find out that it was a themed hotel rather than an entertainment experience is part of the reason why this was a major black eye for all involved. Again, C-suite restructuring took place, and we hope that the lessons were learned. Our friends in South Africa, the Durban entertainment facility by the coast has been tired and needing to be restructured. It closed down in July. It has now been announced with pretty renderings that they're going to be dropping in, was it 1 billion rand? Which I think you calculated at being about 50 plus million.
Yeah, 50 to 60 million. Yep.
Thank you. It's offering everything they claim. It's going to have a fantastic roller coaster. It's going to have this. It's going to have that. It's going to have a virtual reality game room inside it. Whether this gets completed by 2027 to the level of the quality of the renderings, I question, and I just question from a professional, personal point of view. I wish them all the luck in the world to achieve this, but there's a lot of work there, and the money may be large at the beginning, but it will soon be eaten up if they have to develop it to the levels that they're proposing.
Yeah.
Our friends at Conductor have been involved in a number of new projects. One of the, obviously we've talked about their Rivals new facility concept that will be opening up this year, but another one that was revealed that will be opening up in Manchester is a concept called Game Face. And it's going to contain, I don't know. That's all we've got at the moment is the name, and that it will be comprising Conductor and Game Vault game systems, whether it's going to be pure competitive socializing, whether it's going to be a mixture of an FEC, I can't really say. The Game Face logo looks interesting, I suppose, as far as I can go with this. And knowing that Conductor are working very hard to expand and to cement their position in the market, it will be fascinating to see what comes from their furtive minds.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting that they're testing a couple of different concepts. Their Rival Social, which again, I had my issues anyway with that name, but now they're trying out this Game Face, and also still selling their equipment to other operators, and so they're going to find themselves in competition with the other operators at some point. So really interesting to see this path that they're taking.
It's the Atari problem. I always remember when, showing my age, when Atari started up its, it wasn't Chuck E. Cheese, but it's Party Pizza.
Showbiz Pizza.
Showbiz Pizza Party Time venues that people raised an eyebrow in the amusement sector, saying, is the vampire running the blood bank? And I wouldn't be surprised if our friends at Conductor and Game Vault maybe have to create a separate operation that handles their entertainment facility running. But again, early days. Fever, another vampire running the blood bank, as it were. We are familiar with Fever's involvement on the ticketing, promotion, and marketing of a number of immersive attractions. They have very close relationships. They even fund the development of certain attractions, mostly on the pop-up side. Temporary facility openings, utilizing available space in certain localities internationally. Well, then, surprise, surprise, after their appearance for the first time at IALPA, we suddenly get to see that they've now entered the permanent facility business, and they've opened a chain, Fever Hub, the first site at a less than stellar location in Orlando, away from International Drive, away from the main strip, but that may be method to their madness. They may be testing the water away from the glare and publicity of being front and center. Anyway, Fever Hub offers a active entertainment, what I would call a mission room style experience called Glow or Go. Very crystal mazy from what I've seen of the video and the pictures. Created for Fever under commission, interesting. And then they're also running a virtual reality, what I would call an interactive adventure experience, though using off-the-shelf consumer technology. So this isn't, as we've seen with the Universe and the X-Room style approach of large audience VR experiences. This is just a onesie, twosie, foursy walk around wearing off-the-shelf MetaQuest 3s and seeing the Titanic in all its standalone glory. I raise an eyebrow regarding the quality of that VR experience, but if it brings in an audience, then who am I to complain? It's clear that Fever now want to be a vehicle or a facility for these attractions to populate, so they're controlling more of the venue. They're using their own ticketing systems. It's their own enclosure, their own staff. The only thing that's being added to that are these attractions, which I'm sure can be rolled in and rolled out simply based upon the popularity.
Yeah, I mean, so what's interesting too, and I talked a little bit more about this on the LBX show during my News You Should Know, but the Fever is really beginning to also make the move to be a destination and location-based entertainment search vehicle too. So they are not only promoting on feverup.com their own attractions, they are also promoting nearby attractions depending on where you are and reselling those tickets. And so if you go to Fever Up and you're in the Orlando area and you're checking out Fever Hub, which I was doing, you can also see tickets. You can buy tickets to Crayola Experience and to Legoland and to other things that have no connection to Fever whatsoever. And so they're really trying to be that hub, I think, of location-based entertainment experiences in the areas where across the U.S. at least. And then it's really interesting too, their Glow or Go concept, basically arguably almost a straight ripoff of Beat the Bomb. And so really interesting that they're have decided to go this path of like basically creating competitors now even to other things in the market.
The poacher becoming the gamekeeper. Sorry to use these idioms, these English idioms, but it's descriptive for my mind. They will have access to what is hot in a certain area. That transparency will allow them to consider maybe, hey, there's an opportunity for us to open up a direct competitor to Beat the Bomb because that's doing very well in this particular area. Or there isn't a equivalents to Beat the Bomb in this particular area, and we could open up a hub there. That gives them a transparency which I know a number of operators will start to question whether it gives them a little bit too much access to their bottom line data, especially if you're having to depend on Fever for ticket sale. Mm-hmm. We have the first proper renderings of what the UK Universal Studios Great Britain, TBD, is going to look like. Nothing really earth-shattering from the pictures. The vagary of the roller coaster is to be expected until the deal is done with the manufacturer there. But now, with the UK government's blessings and with the the staff being relocated as we speak to the UK site, we get a glimpse of what in 2031 will be throwing its doors open. And I'm looking forward to both of us standing at that courtyard doing a podcast.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Interesting. What do you do with a ski zone that you don't want to use as a ski zone anymore? You put a go-kart course inside it. In Scotland, the X site was very popular. The X site group had developed a number of indoor skiing facilities, the automatic snow delivery systems, the constant smell of, I've never been a fan of indoor ski resorts. I think the best one I've been to was in Dubai, funny enough, where the rest always smell of bleach because of the problems of operation. Anyway, this facility in Glasgow has come to an end. They've started the process to strip it out. It's a £12 million project by XPE Group. The Grid will be one of the largest multi-level karting facilities with an extensive entertainment and social entertainment component to it. And we look forward to seeing this throw its doors open maybe in the next 12 months.
Well, look, creative approach to solving, to swapping out a giant facility. So it'd be interesting to see how it does. But yeah, it's really interesting.
It'll be interesting. One of those stories that was bubbling around at IALPA that we couldn't touch upon. Now we have confirmation that DOF Robotics is going to be putting in about $20 million into what I like to call a tourist entertainment resort in Turkey. This is very much a historical installation. It is more edutainment than it is a resort entertainment facility, and it will be mainly indoor, the site. And there are several immersive attractions that are going into this facility. One of those is a balloon ride using a large dome display and motion base to give an audience a feeling that they are floating over the locality, specially created film, a soaring experience, but from a balloon's perspective. This is great positioning for DOF Robotics. It allows them to support the local culture and also the local community with their expertise in technology. Remembering that DOF Robotics has also revealed that they're developing two competitive socializing venue projects within Turkey. It's clear that the company is moving very hard following its flotation on the market. And of course, we'll have a little bit more information because as we're recording this, the Turkish amusement trade exhibition is taking place in Istanbul. And I know that there's some developments that are going to come from there.
Yeah, I've never been to or seen Neo Cappadocia, but definitely a place that looks interesting and look forward to visiting the next time I'm in Turkey, visiting DOF. So it'd be exciting to go there and check it out.
Definitely worth a visit. We touched upon the Brighton Group and that we were concerned by their offloading of their entertainment resorts to our friends at the Mellor Group. We've also pointed out that they were selling their mini golf operation. We were sort of concerned that would they be selling the crown jewels and divesting themselves from the market. Well, it has been confirmed that Brighton Pier is up for sale. No numbers have been quoted on how much it's going to be sold for or who the likely buyers will be. but it was originally valued back in 2023 at about 17.3 million, and by 2024 that had dropped to about 13.7. If they sell it for anything lower than 12 million, then there will be serious concerns about the validity of this aspect of the entertainment market. But it does look like the company is getting out while the going is good.
Yeah, good placement of the question mark there. Going is good.
Good.
Yeah, well, yeah, we kind of had a feeling that that was a full unwinding, and that does look like what it is.
Great aspirations they had at the time when they took this on board. A number of restaurateurs and hospitality experts were involved in this operation. It was going to be a leading entertainment operation, and I think all they achieved in doing was racking up some really good first-class flights, but that's a personal opinion. Told you so. Told you so.
Yep.
Told you so.
I didn't even need to visit the facility when this thing first opened to know that this was never going to succeed.
So the loss of Wonderverse Chicago is not a great surprise. It's just why it took Sony Pictures so long to admit failure. I think most of the executives involved in that project are no longer with it, and the loss of face, I think, is considerable in the face of Netflix house opening, as you'll understand later on. I'm just going to say a failure to understand your market, a failure to understand the market regarding what you're trying to develop with the technology available, the utilization of brands that were inappropriate or badly thought out, and finally, a basic design concept overall that missed what was needed. Jump in a time machine, go back 17 years, and the list I've just given you of failings were exactly the same reason why the Sony Metreon concepts in Berlin, Tokyo, and San Francisco went to the wall, though they lasted a few more years in failure than our friends at Wonderverse have. There are going to have to be serious questions asked internally at Sony Pictures why this was allowed to be such a bad failure, why the executive team that was brought on board had so little knowledge of the market but were allowed to play with the crown jewels. And of course, this isn't going to be the last time that Sony is going to put investments into location-based entertainment, and it will be interesting to see what they will do next. The cryptic message on their website regarding the closure says concluding operations as the venue transitions to a new concept. It will be interesting to see what that new concept is.
Yeah. I mean, I predicted beginning of this year that Sony would basically announce a new concept and give us some sense for what that looks like. So whether they put it in the same location, which I actually think might be a mistake, versus doing it in a new location, will be interesting to watch.
Go-karting, immersive adventure, projection mapping. Those are the kinds of things I think that a lower management would jump to, but a higher tier management is going to have to think about the big picture and future proofing. But anyway. Surprise, as we touched upon in Open and Shut, we feel that this is an outlier situation rather than a rout. It's way too early for us to actually be seeing any problems with the Chuck's Arcade brand new concept materialize. So to see one of the first venues that was turned into a Chuck's Arcade close after 194 days kind of tells us that there was an underlying problem, a bad location, a problem with the management, a problem with the landlord, or just the wrong product for the wrong place. That would be my personal opinion from this, especially as it was picking up the legacy of the Peter Piper pizzeria component. Oh dear. The issues I have, though, is that it puts more scrutiny on the remaining 10 Chuck's Arcades, and I still feel that the Chuck's Arcade, while it may be a good idea, its application and implementation may still be a little bit iffy and need a little bit more time in the oven, pardon the pun. But this issue of seeing one of the first sites go so quickly is a kind of a mini black eye for the brand, which may not be of its own making.
Yeah, they really should have just shut down Peter Piper Pizza. For those that don't know, that's also another brand owned by CEC Entertainment. It was acquired, gosh, I would want to say like 15 years ago now at this point, but if not longer. And they should have just shut it down when it was clearly not succeeding as a Peter Piper Pizza, instead of trying to go spend all the time and money rebranding, reopening, and then only to go and shut down 6 months later.
Kind of a trend we're seeing with these comments that we're making now about the news that's appearing. You could point to the Wonderverse, you could point to the Peter Piper Pizza and say that they're sunk cost fallacies, where a management group has put a project forward, it's been badly executed for whatever reason, and rather than saying, okay, that's not working, let's take a step back, close it down, restart, they've held on for grim death, hoping that somehow they're going to rectify the problem. Until now, they have to bite the bullet. And that's going to be common across a lot of what we see in the coming months. Some sad news. Sega has really been seeing its founding members passing on the veil. I had the pleasure of knowing David Rosen, who was the man that created Sega, one of the founders of Service Games. I'm not going to go through the history here of how Service Games transformed itself into Sega, and then how that management team took it to the next level to become the mega Sega amusement and video game operation that we know and love. Suffice to say that he was instrumental in the Japanese operations consolidation as an amusement company. As the video games industry was taking off, he was instrumental in the form factor and the development of hardware from the Japanese side. And even when he transferred over to opening up the Sega of America operation, he really established most of the video amusement constructs that we still work with today. And a lot of what I've done in the video games amusement industry has been shaped by what foundation him and his team laid down. Seeing him pass at 95, we can say he's had a good innings. And I would just like to tip the hat and say thank you for all that he's done for the sector.
Indeed.
So on to the techs and trends, and we are definitely into the immersive enclosure market taking strong hold. I've been jumping up and down and saying that this is going to be a major part of our future XR investment as we move away from sticking a box on your head to sticking people into a box. Our friends at Innerwise have celebrated now 9 games on their platform. Congratulations to the team. We also touched upon in Open and Shut that they've also rolled out a number of installations. So I think they're in the 80s now of machines out in the market. So they've really proven themselves.
Yeah, very happy for them. Such a great team, and still really love their box that they've created with the gate. And so, this unattended model, although, everything is better with a light attendant component, but it still provides the opportunity anyway for an attendantless model. But either way, they've got a great product, and I'm excited to see them continue to expand.
Yeah, I think they've got some surprises coming up in the next couple of months as well. Our friends at Immersive Gamebox, another box that you get into, projection mapped environment, they've pivoted a little bit away from the norm of their licensed game content. Maybe they don't have as deep a pockets, as it were, to buy the latest license from our friends at Netflix. That said, they've created Box Party, which is what I would argue is a competitive socializing game style for their enclosure system. I would have argued that they should have done an immersive social entertainment kind of game experience some time ago. And maybe, again, the new management that's just been parachuted into the company saw that that was an obvious omission and have now encouraged that to be created. We will look forward to hearing reports on how well this mini game-led experience system works. Again, they don't control the hospitality that the people have had prior to getting inside the experience, but hopefully it's an experience that suits the mentality of the audience that some of these units are being placed in.
Yeah, well, this is encouraging. I mean, one of my biggest complaints about Immersive Gamebox is the length of time of their experiences. 30 minutes tends to be their minimum, upwards to 60 minutes, and it's way too long. And so it's great to see that they also have decided to create their own content and really go with a fun, I love the box party concept, and so they've done a great job here. And hopefully this is a better experience for those who have already invested in Immersive Gamebox to drive usage of those things that tend to sit empty in a lot of the venues I've been to.
This is a make or break year for Immersive Gamebox. They've taken on new investment. They've taken on a new management structure. They have to turn the ship of state and prove that this is a viable entertainment concept, especially as they now have a lot of competition. And some of the competition that they're going to be going up against is Smash Swing with their projection, immersive, multiplayer, social entertainment experience. Though it may be based on golf, this company has also invested in licensing IP from our friends at Atari. But they have also now started to develop more and more of their experiences to focus on the audience that they want to support in the sector. And they've just developed this new 4-player tournament-based game experience. I look forward to seeing this installed. I haven't come across a facility that has placed a Smash Swing in their site yet, but I know that will happen soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a quick plug, if anybody wants to get more information or see more detail about Smash Swing, we did do a reveal with the founder of Smash Swing, and so you can find that on the LBX Collective website.
Excellent. Our friends at XWall have developed a enclosure. A couple of sound offs ago, we talked about the opening at Hollywood Entertainment Center in the Netherlands. For me, it's another immersive enclosure facility building on a proven form factor. This is really borrowing very heavily from Toca Social. I made the mistake of thinking this was Toca Social when I first saw the pictures. It's that close, but again, it's based upon the projected wall, the kicking interface, the tracked ball experience with a strong competitive socializing environment. Whether this is the beginning, the battle square concept is just a one-off for Hollywood entertainment centers, or if this is the beginning of a rollout of the concept as a drop-in, we will have to wait and see. Our friends at Maya, we have talked about their platform before, as well as their first installation of their first facility, the virtual reality, active entertainment, audience-driven experience. The owners and the developers are very passionate about what they've created here, and they feel that it has a lot of legs, pardon the pun, to run around in the market. What we have seen is, while they've only opened one facility in North America, they've managed to party with key players in the Chinese sector, and they've installed 2 systems three systems in all, but 2 systems in cinema entertainment side of the business and 1 in their entertainment facility. They've actually been lucky enough to partner with the Jackie Chan cinema chain, which is a very strong cinema chain in China. And it will be interesting to see how this cinetainment works within this environment.
One of my biggest issues with their experience is that, while we talked about the the importance of being able to spectate, with different smaller attractions. That tends to be spectating with your friends or family and your small group around the small attraction that it is that you're doing. The issue I have here is that you are actually in front of a large audience. You're basically competing in front of the entire facility, right? Effectively, and all of the guests that are there. And if you're not comfortable doing that and getting up there and potentially making an utter fool of yourself, then I think they're going to struggle, and which is potentially why they have not rolled out as quickly through the US market anyway, as maybe they had originally preferred or intended to, because there could be some cultural differences in why it maybe is finding more success in the Chinese market than in the US market potentially.
That's a very valid point. I call it the game show approach to immersive entertainment, where you're near enough pushing the people up onto the stage to make a fool of themselves for everybody to feel better about their lives and laugh and consume more alcohol and food. That game show approach may work better in the Chinese market, but it's also dependent on there being enough of an audience. And virtual reality systems kind of blindfolds the people on stage so they can't share in the joke. So that adds to that level of embarrassment.
Yeah.
I have heard mixed reviews regarding the immersive entertainment experience that the VR system offers. One individual said to me that they thought that it could work without the headset more than with the headset. I need to try the system myself before I'm going to go down that rabbit hole, but I would argue that 4 facilities is going to give them a much better foundation to work out what needs to be done to increase the rollout that they need to achieve. We touched upon this very briefly in Open and Shut. I'll just say that the fitness industry has been looking for something that will bring people back to their facilities. Whether that is going to be virtual reality play, I am not sure. The hygiene and the operational issues of using head-mounted displays in commercial fitness raises a lot of questions on my side of the fence. Either way, our friends at LA Fitness in Whitby in the UK have taken the plunge and installed the VR Fit system. VR Fit have got a lot of money at the moment to try and promote their VR fitness app in the consumer side, and they've also now looked towards promoting it in the commercial side. And we will see what human sweat and salts will do to a consumer headset.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm skeptical, but we'll see.
We'll see. Our friends at Walt Disney, we talked about the Ratatouille experience a few sound-offs ago, removing one of their projectors and going for a non-3D immersive projection environment. And I gave the list of pros and cons, and I raised an eyebrow saying, I wonder if we'll see other attractions going this way. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Spider-Man at Disneyland Paris has also decided to remove its 3D components and go for a 2D approach without the glasses. This is particularly interesting because the attraction actually played about the usage of the glasses in the experience that you were putting on the web vision glasses. That was part of the reason. The game attraction is a flat ride where you use your hand gestures to shoot webs at the rampaging robots all on screen. Removing the 3D aspect is telling, especially for an interactive game, as well as for a dark ride attraction. If Disneyland Paris is going through this process, I wouldn't be surprised to see it being evaluated that the other Disney parks may be removing their 3D components, feeling that it's just too much of a muchness.
Yeah, this is interesting. And you wonder because, obviously Ratatouille is not only at Disneyland Paris, they have a number of installations, but the one in Epcot, do we know, is that one still 3D, the Ratatouille experience in Epcot?
trying to get information on this is like pulling teeth. Sadly, most of my colleagues that I used to work with at Walt Disney Imagineering have moved on to other occupations, and the remaining Imagineers aren't as gabacious about sharing details. So really, we're going to have to spend some time next IALPA and actually stick our heads in and see if they're still operational. I get the feeling that it's been removed. This is a bit of a black eye for the technology team, and so they don't really want to promote it too much. London Dungeons has bit the bullet. Merlin Entertainment has been rumored to be evaluating cost-cutting measures across their operation to try and rein in their expenses and focus on their core business. The London Dungeons facility had relocated from its previous site in 2013, and everything was transported to the new location by the Thames. Their coaster attraction was one of the many things that was relocated in its new home. The Tyrant's Boat Ride, which is a mixture of a drop boat experience as well as a little bit of narrative from cast members. Well, information was revealed a couple of months ago that it was closed for maintenance. That maintenance has now become permanent. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of, shall we say, sophrosy regarding information sharing, where it's closed for maintenance, the dog's gone to a new home up market, Santa Claus exists, I'll love you in the morning. It's all of these issues are bad PR in my book. To have an entertainment facility that charges a flat price and then to remove an attraction, you would then expect the facility to change its pricing model to reflect that it's lost an attraction. Again, you touched upon in your crystal ball gazing the structure of what Merlin will look like in 2026, and I'm not going to argue with you on that. Yeah,
this is just one more sign that I may have got my 2026 Merlin prediction correct. So we will see how things continue to shake out this year.
Don't pat yourself on the back too early.
I'm not. I'm just saying this is one more sign in that direction.
It does seem that way. Major deal from our friends at Taito in Japan, one of the largest of the 7-Eleven style convenience store chains out there, Family Mart, with several thousands of locations dotted around Tokyo. The convenience store that many tourists like to go into to see all the unusual flavors of Doritos and stuff like that. They have decided that they're going to be placing crane or new wave crane machines into their sites, and this is history repeating itself. I remember the time when 7-Eleven added arcade machines to their makeup to ride the bandwagon. Well, it seems to be that our friends at Family Mart are riding the successful bandwagon of new wave crane machines in Japan by adding these machines, and this will be a considerable installation of machines across their chain, and I think that will have an even greater impact on the revenue from amusement business that certain corporations are making.
Yeah, this is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar move made, a similar partnership made with a 7-Eleven or Circle K or some other type of system, like large brand system throughout the U.S. as well.
Yes, it's obvious that North America will follow suit based upon the success of this, but let's hope it's not another Gender moment.
Yeah, indeed.
A brief AI trend here, really. Our friends in the consumer games sector, as we were saying in the last sound off, have taken a pounding. Most of the leading console machines saw a drop in sales, and there was straight gnashing of teeth and concern, but there was some bright sparks or bright areas of success. One of those is a company, Next Playground is what I would call a next generation Wii approach to the machine. It is a simple console game with mini games on board. The system automatically tracks the movement of the players in front of it, and you control your character. You could argue that this is a simple play model that our friends Immersive Gamebox are emulating with their kind of system. I would even argue that our friends at Innerwise's game experiences are mini game, highly active entertainment experiences. This is still very popular with the audience, though our friends at Microsoft failed to ride this bandwagon with their motion tracking system that they had to abandon for the Xbox. The application that Nintendo Wii generated is still strong with the next generation, and the next generation has jumped on board this particular system, which was an incredibly successful seller over the holidays and Black Friday, and incorporates a lot of AI in it. There's a lot of machine learning in the tracking of the players' movements represented on screen, and also in the game applications that were created. So, the full circle: active entertainment, a bit of AI, and consumer video game.
This seems to me to be ripe for acquisition very quickly. I would not be surprised if we see Next Playground being acquired by a Microsoft, for example, or something to try to revive their console market. And you know what, they've done some amazing things already too. For such a like independent startup, they're partnered with Hasbro and Mattel, Paramount, Sesame Street, Universal, BBC for IP for experiences that they can do and that connect with the kids. And so this is really interesting, and be fun and exciting to watch how they evolve or how quickly they get acquired by one of the other game companies.
Anyway, it's that time.
Yep. All right. Coming up after the break, we'll have a special report, I guess we'll call it.
Power up your game floor with Arcades by Alan 1. Whether it's perfectly pouring drinks in Dr. Pepper Soda Slam, grabbing official Butts on Things plushies, or defending cities from attack and missile command recharge, Alan 1 has something for every venue and arcade floor that will delight your guests. Each game is also enhanced with Major League Esports, a free app that tracks player top scores and brings guests back to your venue for more. Visit allen-1.com to learn more. That's allen-1.com.
Thank you, Alan. And thank you to one of our clients and supporters. You ask, they deliver. I raised the question about what the actual amusement component and the attraction component of the latest opened Netflix house was, and I thought I was going to have to wait until we were out there, but luckily our source was able to go through the facility early and take some extensive photographs and give us a snapshot, which I wanted to impart to our audience. So the 100,000 square foot facility is the second of the Netflix houses to open. It has some components that are similar to the previous Philadelphia facility, but it also has gone down a direction of having its own unique attractions and has removed some elements and added others. So one of the elements that they removed was they don't have a Sandbox VR component, but they do have a replay experience. And that replay experience is more of a video game arcade that bases itself on the properties that Netflix has, particularly Stranger Things. Netflix Replay, original name, comprises a selection of rebadged amusement products that we're familiar with a number of exclusively created attraction experiences. Very Dave and Buster-esque, though Dave and Buster's doesn't restrip the machines and remove the namings. They do like to have special creations for their facilities, and I kind of get that feeling from them. We have a unique payment infrastructure here that allows, it is an off-the-shelf card swipe system that has been, or contactless card system that has been modified to support the Netflix replay system, and also store a little bit more data about the player experience. The pricing seems high from my point of view regarding the pricing to play, but you would also expect that because it is Netflix, as it were. And the aspects about the unique, or should we say the customization of these attractions within their replay sector seemed a little bit light to me. It was, in one case, putting a Stranger Things sign on top of a Killer Queen cabinet. It was, covering up the name of a Step Revolution machine. It was taking one of the interactive floor panel game machines and retheming it lightly as the floor is lava. There were some other surprises. There was a cabinet sitting in the corner, Lucky Gilmore 2. I'm not familiar that that's a film in production at the moment. But
are you talking about Happy Gilmore 2?
So Happy Gilmore, yeah.
Yes, Happy Gilmore 2 did come out on Netflix last year.
It did.
But again, like it's not a Happy Gilmore game. It's just a reskinned, rebranded game that you can play in other places. And this is anyway. I could get on a rant. You're covering everything. I can get on the rant about the replay for Netflix.
There's room to rant at the end.
All right.
The layout of the machines drove me mad. They broke every rule in the amusement layout book. It really did feel like cluster socketing. And what I mean by cluster socketing is you find out where the power socket is, and then you cluster all the machines around it in a clusterfuck. Pardon my English. The issue is that it makes it difficult for people to play, makes it difficult for people to move around comfortably. If the facility gets crowded, then you have flow and play problems, which all cannibalize off of each other. They just made every rookie schoolboy mistake from there, clearly showing that certain individuals on this project had experience in amusement and certain of the others didn't. And, I'm sure in the breadth of time, we will have that Wonderverse moment where we'll actually find out why those decisions were made. The unique attractions were interesting. Whether they will be able to stand up to the test of play is another issue. And one of those hard things, speaking personally, when we were working on the Disney Quest project, we made a number of exclusive systems to put into our facility. And we learned a very hard lesson about how the player base will damage your lovely shiny concept system and break it into brand new pieces, and then you need to parachute in someone with a little bit more experience on batch manufacturing and how to ruggedize these systems against 9-year-olds' exuberance. A number of interesting, unique products there. Whether these products will be ever considered to be made available outside of the Netflix house was a question that some people raised. I'm just wondering if these were vanity projects that will be superseded by the next branded concept based on the next IP. And that may be just something that Netflix is prepared to eat, or maybe move these machines around their venues. Maybe the machines here, by the time Las Vegas opens next year, end of next year, they'll go into that. We don't know.
Yeah. And you know what, maybe that's what we'll see, is that as they're developing, they'll develop more and more of their own games and not just slap something on somebody else's game as a quick fix to fill up the space. So that may be the path they're moving.
They had branded areas within the replay environments that were specifically themed on IP property, and that were much more than just a cabinet or a game, but they were an enclosed space. I'm, the jury's out on this. We need to get some revenue numbers to see how popular these are. The branding and the signage of what was the game and what was the branding was very confusing. And if you look at the video that was shot that we were lucky to receive. It is clear that it is a very dark environment, very heavy on the reds and the blacks, and washes out a lot of the information. So people were struggling to understand what the touchscreens were doing or where the card swipe system was. A red and black card swipe system on a red and black machine is always a difficult problem. And then the other components, which we were touched upon a little bit for us, was the Netflix Bite, which is their restaurant and hospitality component. They have a bar as well as a sit-down dining component based upon their previous pop-up venues, including the Netflix Bite that opened up in Las Vegas. All run off of a card ordering system, pretty standard fare, and it did feel kind of standard. It didn't really jump out as being a comfortable and entertaining environment that you're going to want to spend a lot of time in. And maybe that's purposely done, that they want to have a relatively quick throughput through this space. But even the bar setup seemed like it was a second tier approach to the concept compared to what we had previously seen done at other locations based on the Netflix Bite idea.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by this one. I mean, just given, looking at the menu here, and some of the pictures of the food that's available online, and it feels very much like, other than just naming things like the Hellfire Club, which is a club sandwich, okay, great. There's nothing really unique about it. It's just a club sandwich. It happens to have the Hellfire name attached to it. And, the Hollywood Hangover Cure, which is, another type of drink. And so anyway, I'm just a little bit disappointed. It looks very much like Round One-esque level of food, maybe Dave and Buster's level of food, and that's about it.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Again, there are other attractions within the space. There is the themed mini golf. There is the themed, what I would call active entertainment or mission room kind of experience. All of these kinds of experiences you have to pre-book, and in pre-booking, disappointment follows, because at the moment, you get to the facility, you whip out your app, or you go up to the terminal and you find out that all the slots have been taken. That never bodes well in this. If your facility can't accommodate the people that you brought into the space, so they've come into your tent, and then you say you can't offer them what's inside the tent, that breeds a level of dissatisfaction at whatever level that you've got to be prepared to handle. And again, I think that the team behind this will be learning lessons about how much entertainment they need to accommodate the audience that they're going to attract to the facility. I can understand why they may have erred on a lighter touch to begin with, so they can then expand into the space rather than overpopulate and then have to pull back. But again, we need to have a few more months under the belt before we can judge how well these attractions are working in comparison to the facility as a whole. And merch. To be expected. Merch is everywhere. I would argue it's the one aspect of the facility that has been nailed down pretty hard. When you go out, because this is a facility that abuts a shopping mall, and they lead you through the front. Now you can come through from the shopping mall side, but once you've gone through the facility and experience, you exit through the merch store like every good attraction, and extremely high-priced merch based on all of the popular properties was there in exuberance. And I wouldn't be surprised that going forward, Netflix House will be the place where, if you want the latest bebop merchandising, or what was it, K-pop Demon Hunters t-shirt, then it will be found there. That is good for the retail component of Netflix House, but we cannot live by merchandise alone. And again, this is an area of the facility where you may argue, rather than just having it centralized in one place at the exit, that you may have incorporated merchandising throughout the whole of the facility. Personal opinion, again, based on my experience. Anyway, rant aplenty. From my side of the rant, the areas that shocked me the most about what they've done is the payment system issues. They seem to have made a number of rookie errors over the pricing, the operation, and the placement of the payment infrastructure. And that kind of forgets why you're running an entertainment facility if you don't know how to impart the payment and satisfaction to the audience. Signage was very weak at this site, and I'm sure that will be one of the first things they touch. The quality of the hospitality we've already touched upon. It was a surprise after seeing what Netflix Bite has achieved in Vegas, at least, and other of their pop-ups. I thought it was going to be comparable to that, and it isn't. And really the attractions mix. I think they may have made some fundamental mistakes on the way they laid out their machines in the amusement area, and also the amount of entertainment value is available from their unique developments as well as their attractions. These are things that can be easily fixed. We are at that stage of suck it and see. This is the second facility. They've paused now. They're going to take stock of what they've created, collect all the data, and I'm sure when Las Vegas opens up, end of 2026, beginning 2027, we will see how Netflix House has evolved.
So from my end, I will say, when I first look at this and I think that, wow, I think on a revenue per square foot, their merchandising area will do more than anything else in their facility. When this is an entertainment facility, I think it's probably not a good thing. At the same time, I will say that I do look forward to going and visiting both Netflix houses and experiencing them myself, primarily because I am a Netflix fan of a lot of the content that they put on, that they create for Netflix, but also because this is leaps and bounds beyond what Sony Wonderverse has done, and which is why we're seeing the Wonderverse just closing. This is better than, I would argue, any of the other transmedia organizations' first steps into LBE that we've seen. And so while I think they have some major misses, all of which you have identified and that I agree with, I am interested to see how they evolve from here to bring in more entertainment, to fix some of the value for money issues that they have in the amusement mix and some of the other entertainment that they have, and to improve on their F&B, which arguably should be one of the easiest things to fix right here. And so anyway, it would be interesting to see how they evolve. I think this is at least a good first foray into LBE for Netflix, and I am excited to go and check it out myself.
It is not about not having failure. It's about having opportunities to learn. And no one gets it right first time. No matter how big my ego is, I may say a lot of suggestions and I may miss certain points, but it's the ability to understand what works and what doesn't work, and have the metrics at your fingertips, and to learn from those lessons that singles out. The individuals behind Wonderverse would never admit that they had made a mistake. They would never admit that they had problems, and they would never admit that certain of their concepts needed more time in the oven or a total rethink. I get the feeling here that Netflix is open to learn, and that means that their stumbles offer them a much better opportunity to spring up and run forward.
Yeah, agreed.
We have Amusement Expo in March, and the reason why I'm talking about it now is that I've just found out that I will be presenting at the event, talking about competitive socializing in its perspective for the amusement sector. More news to follow. Also in June next year, middle of the year, talking about the middle of the year, at the beginning of the year, always scary for me. We have the LBX VR zone, or LBX XR zone, within the Augmented World Expo, we'll be attracting a lot of the location-based entertainment developers and operators to that event. And again, much more information on that coming forward. And finally, if you have information you want to share in confidence or publicly, and if you want to ask any questions or correct us on the mistakes that I constantly make, then please do that through the LinkedIn or through the email. The last of our Stinger reports covering IALPA have concluded, and we're now going to be moving forward talking about the developments for 2026, and there are a lot of them to talk about. But anyway, that's it from me. Thank you, Brandon, for your help.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it was a great sound off, Kevin. I'm glad we got a chance to really dig into Netflix House in Dallas. And see you on the next one next week.
See you on the next one.